Across the South, suppression tactics like literacy tests and poll taxes are widely used to prevent Black citizens from voting. In Selma, local activists have been fighting these illegal measures for decades. In 1965, the national movement joins their fight. Local activist Amelia Boynton has been leading the grassroots movement, fighting for voters' rights in Selma.
Mrs. Boynton had been registering voters since 1932. It was at her request that we came to Selma. The churches that tried to have voter registration meetings, Jim Clark wouldn't let anybody in. And he had literally created a police state.
Selma will be the starting point for a 50-mile march to the State House in Montgomery, where the people will present their demands to Governor Wallace himself. 500 protesters with activist John Lewis in the lead set out for the Capitol. But just across the bridge, Sheriff Clark is waiting with an army of deputies.
59 years ago, John and Hosea led us up to the bridge on March 7th, 1965, to be beaten by law enforcement officers. That day went down in history as Bloody Sunday.
Here, advance.
I was 11 years old in 1965 on that bridge, March 7th, 1965 to be exact. I had no idea that it was going to be violent, but when it happened, when it started, I was terrified and horrified to see people laying, bleeding, and then the tear gas got me, so I panicked. We were trying to get back across the bridge. The last thing that I remember on that bridge that day was seeing this horse and this lady, and I don't know what happened. Did the man on the horse hit her, or did he run over her with the horse? But even today, 59 years later, I can still hear the sound her head made when it hit that pavement. The next thing I remember, I was on the city side of the bridge. I was in the back of a car, and my head was in my sister Linda's lap, and Linda was crying. And when I became fully awake, I realized what was falling on my face were not her tears. It was my sister's blood. She had been beaten on this bridge, 14 years old, beaten on this bridge and had wounds in her head that required 35 stitches. Every major tragedy in the United States, they send in counselors, psychologists, and therapists and stuff. Nobody came to help us. Nobody even thought to come and help us. Life just went on, so you internalized it, and it became a part of you that just stayed there. It wouldn't go away, but you didn't talk about it. This little girl right here is me, and we were at a protest. I was arrested 13 times by the age of 11. The first time I was arrested, I was with my grandmother. We had gone to the courthouse, she and a bunch of other women. Grandma, why are we here? She said, they're gonna arrest us. I said, why? She said, don't worry about it, baby. One day things are gonna change. This is where we left from, on what is now known as Bloody Sunday. And we assembled right there. And I followed John Lewis and Hosea Williams, Albert Turner, and Charles Malden right out through there, across that cement to the bridge to be beaten by law enforcement officers. So I thought, and I think it's important because when we tear down, rename, remove, new history begins, and old history is forgotten. This history is too important to the fabric of this nation to be forgotten. Everyone that came to Selma, I took to that cement and made them pick up a rock from the cement. Made them pick up a rock from the cement and hold it in their hands. I said, that's a way to connect them. Something tangible in their hands. I tell them, They could take it or they could leave it. If they take it, they need to put it where they can see it, where they can see it every day. Because when you see injustice committed against anyone in the whole rainbow of humanity, and you feel like you can't do anything, go pick up that rock and take from it the strength of the ordinary people who stood on that same rock and made history that not only changed the South, but this entire nation. And then get up off your behinds and do something. If you don't do anything but throw that rock and scream until you're heard.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise as we honor civil rights icon and ambassador for justice, Joanne Bland, recipient of the 2025 Simeon Booker National Award for Courage.